That's an opinion, I guess.
Imagine wanting to make each other's fingers stink, bro. Like I just couldn't.
I don't know. I feel like we could have a pleasant discussion. It wouldn't have to go for like 2 hours. We could just like wrap it up in like 5 minutes or something.
I was looking something up I wanted to talk to Erde about. It had to do with the Baptist missionaries.
What it Can I ask you one question though? I gotta ask this. I'm gonna ask this even if you say don't ask it. Okay, I have to ask this question. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?
Sure, man.
If you if you were wrong about your worldview, how would you know?
Um, Wrong in terms of what? Like the objective reality of it?
What value you're trying to maximize?
Equanimity, peace.
Equanimity,
Yeah.
peace. I mean, I'd have to Google what equanimity means in a second. Wait. Equanimity.
Yo, check the side chat, Trini.
Mental calmness, composure, and evenness of temper, especially in difficult situations. And peace is pretty self-explanatory, I suppose. Um,
Damn, Ernie's quick with those Bible verses.
yeah, I mean, I definitely think that calmness and purpose and peace are really like cool things to have. I definitely agree that those are good. I'm not sure that your worldview guarantees them, and even if it did, you wouldn't. I don't know. I just feel like you're gonna believe you're right no matter what. Like, there's no way to verify
No,
your
it's not.
worldview.
It's more of like there's like a theological and metaphysical understanding about this stuff. So you have to, again, I'm not gonna spend too much time here because you're gonna
Right, but you're
not
like,
gonna believe in this shit. But everything is all this stuff is temporary, right? Like every single state that is currently happening is fluctuating, and
right.
even states of like belief that we're currently holding. So like maybe if you are unironically trans or something, or you prefer, X political candidate or X political view or philosophy, like that can change a couple of years from now. You're going to be a completely different person. Basically, um, the real deep down, like the only everlasting thing is you and God and like the relationship between those things and
I'm with
cultivating
you.
this
Like if I could demonstrate to you that like trans acceptance led to like calmness and of purpose and peace and all that stuff for like
but you wouldn't like this is a hypothetical.
right, we're doing hypotheticals here, right? Because I think it's really important for your worldview to be both verifiable and falsifiable. Because if you're gonna do whatever the fuck you want anyways, then just say I don't you just right, that's gay and cringe. I think if you value peace on earth and all that cool shit, which I agree, then you should like pursue anything that maximizes that value, wherever that leads you.
That's just a utilitarian approach, right, to a moral movement.
Um, I mean, yeah, I mean, you don't have to. I guess it kind of is.
Like,
I'm sorry.
here's a
In
tough
what way
part,
is it
right?
not
Like, I get what
utilitarian?
you're saying. I really do kind of like understand your sentiment, right? Because I mean, you're just gonna have to take my word for it. Yeah, I feel like I'm a Christian that tried to ask more rational questions, about
Right.
this stuff. Like, even in like a synthetic logic, right? Synthetic logic can't address universals. It can't. Like, propositional logic, the syntax doesn't allow for questions about all, some, or none, right?
What's a universal? Can you give me an example, please?
All, some, or none.
All, some, or sorry?
None statements. All, some, or none statements.
Right.
And
And
even a
propositional logic
synthetic,
can't for that.
even a synthetic theorem or formula is always going to be post-complete. So they're referred to as post-completeness theorems. So even if you believe that the only propositions are true propositions, and you try to formulate like a system or truth table for it, it's still going to be limited to a specific syntax. And some of even in mathematics, some of those axioms are not going to be true or false. Not every single formula in math is going to be a true or false proof theorem.
I have a hard time wrapping my head around that one. I feel like
Yeah,
that's
it's
Solve that
tough.
riddle, Trini.
no. I just think it's kind of silly though, because it's like I feel like any mathematical formula is either correct or incorrect, and there's no like middle ground. Maybe I'm wrong. I could talk to a math guy, but I feel like that is the case.
So this was a debate that happened in linguistic philosophy between the constructivists and intuitionalists. Okay.
Right.
And Gödel came in. I don't know if you've heard of Gödel's
I have
incompleteness
not.
theorem. Okay. You should take a look at that. That's really interesting. Like I'm not a mathematician myself. I've read parts of the Principia Mathematica, but I didn't like read all of it. And then I read Ludwig Wittgenstein's
Right.
critique of Russell's naive set theory.
You should read Mein
And then
Kampf.
I also
Don't say that.
read through Gödel's incompleteness theorem.
Right.
You should. So he came up with his own form of symbolic logic where he replaced all of like the synthetic symbols that you find in propositional logic with like a whole nother other freaking system of way of doing it. I forgot it. You have to watch a video on it. Like I still don't get it.
Right.
But the idea is that could there be equations or axioms or form of mathematical statements that couldn't be proven either by itself or another function? And his incompleteness theory, like whatever, shows that it is true, or that yeah, that
Right.
there would be none. We just don't know which ones they are. I don't
Right.
know.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, like,
I'm a little bit off base.
yeah. We're kind of lost in the weeds here a little bit. Let's just I don't know. Let's just kiss. No. um. Yeah, I know, right? I just think that if you've got a worldview, you should be able to defend it. And if it's wrong, you should be able to reckon with that. And
Yeah.
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe God is real. Maybe I'm
Well,
just, but
here's
like
the thing.
if I was wrong, I'd be able to like verify it, right? But I don't like this whole like, look, man, I'm starting from the position that I'm correct, and if you don't get it, then you're predestined for hell. I think that's incredibly silly. I don't respect that at all.
That's fine.
We're not
The thing
presups. Go
yeah.
ahead.
Right. Well, I respect you for saying that. Thank you for I hate precepts so goddamn much.
Yeah, the only thing I was gonna add is like that there is a this goes back to like the whole idealism thing and that philosophy with like subjective experience. It like yeah, on some level you could quantify like the validity of like a belief or perspective based on whether or not you can defend like that, said belief and perspective. But there's also and maybe like you would have an Abismo would have an issue with the utility of this, but like there's also like a proof in the pudding in terms of your own subjective gains that manifests as a direct result of having like said perspectives. Um, and I think that's something like even if someone came up with an extremely logical argument, uh, against it, like it still wouldn't really dissuade me because like the benefits I kind of gain from having these perspectives,
Okay.
um, kind of transcends,
Right.
whatever like a debate lord would say.
Right. Well, I guess, and then it's not really about like the peace and peace and calm of mind stuff, right? It's just like, look, you're just really dedicated to God or whatever. That's it. That's the beginning and the end of it for you, which is fine. I mean, I don't see it that way, but
So I'll post a video so you can kind of see what the logical construction looks like. But if you want like the 2-minute quick answer, basically for a classical theist, we believe that not only is the world real, our ability to be able to interpret it or have knowledge about the world is also real. Therefore, not only is the world as it is knowable, God is knowable as well. So there is a rational component to this. And we're going to say it isn't just about faith, it's both faith and reason.
okay.
That's our thesis.
Okay, that's fair, I guess.
How we get there is that's a longer form conversation.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not interested in a long form conversation because, just a pleasant chit chat, just a little. I'm not trying to like win something here,
Yeah. Here's the alternative is that you want to be a critical skeptic. And so what you're going to concede then is that you could consider that this claim that everything is knowable is a recursive type of a knowledge. And so you're willing to remain skeptical until you can construct a form of verification that's able to be satisfying for you. But that's kind of a form of question begging from our particular worldview.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I would say that like everything is knowable, right? I mean, like practically, logistically, it is impossible to um um what was I going to say? I'm so sorry. Fuck. It's like 2,000 years ago. Was there a teapot orbiting Saturn? There's no way of knowing that, right? I can't know that. So there's some things you just can never know. Um, you know. But I think that like if you can verify it, then it is. Then yeah, I would say it's knowable.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm being stupid. I'm sorry.
No, that's not
No,
stupid.
you're
That's not a
good.
stupid
Yeah.
condition at all. It's just kind of, it's going to be a self-referential kind of a truth.
You know.
It's not actually going to be a real truth, but that depends on, what your epistemological foundations is in the first place, and then you're back to square one.
You know.
Start with the Western canon, and then work your way towards modernity, philosophy, and modernity.
Like
Well, me.
from, good.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, there's like a lot of the stuff that everyone is kind of saying, like these like the humans that have come before us, like they've kind of like fleshed it out and they've thought about it extensively and they've argued and they've had these debates, these backs and forths, and I don't want to say like the problem is solved, but like if you read like the Western canon of philosophy and you get here, like you'll see ultimately what they're putting down and a lot of the stuff that people are kind of doing, this aimlessness, um it just ends up like hurting people themselves or others around them in the long term. So like there's like why a specific thing like stoicism or these different philosophies like are pretty useful for navigating the world in your own life. And then
Facts.
like the old and then like the in our perspective, like the final evolution of it is maintaining a relationship with a creator or with the creator.
Right. I mean, yeah, I haven't read all that philosophy stuff. I recently listened to a podcast. I think it was called the Nietzschean podcast, and I think I like what they had to say about him. Like this idea that like there is no metaphysical physical nonsense. It has not brought us any closer to the truth, so why even bother with it? I think that's good. I don't think people have gotten like smarter by like talking about the metaphysical stuff. It doesn't bring us any truth. It's just something we think is
Yeah,
true.
but then what Nietzsche presents, right, at the end of Behold Man, Ecce Homo, is the authentic quote unquote Ubermensch is going to, and the will to power is going to create his own values.
Yeah,
But
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
but here's the thing. The question is, was Nietzsche right? Can one create your own values? You can't.
Yes. Yeah. Why not?
You can't.
Why not?
One answer could be, well, you're not born as an individual. A state of nature is a myth. You're always part of a community. I think in a modern context, like our American context and like a consumer economy, I think part of like the individualism that we've like grown up to idealize is nothing more than an illusion. It's something that was fed to us both by propaganda and marketing since the 1960s, where consumerism was repackaged into to sell like choices based on a merely self-interested individual. And I think that that is an illusion. It doesn't actually exist, but as a way of motivating people to buy more and more things, that's kind of what that's kind of like the generation that we basically kind of like lived through the 80s,
Right.
90s, and 2000s.
Hey, buddy, if your problem is with consumerism and the commodity form, you're preaching to the choir here because I'm a goddamn communist.
Okay.
Whoa.
I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
there's
Can you
different
say the
forms
G
of
word?
communism.
I
You can
apologize.
Yeah.
I'm going to say the D word here. I apologize.
You good?
I love you. Okay.
Well, I
Just
mean,
kidding.
if you're a communist, then I don't know how you're going to resolve that with with Nietzsche, but
Um, I'm not sure what you're referencing.
the
Well, so
narratives are different.
maybe. I mean, I think Nietzsche had
The,
some good ideas. I haven't like read the books. I only saw like the podcast thing.
okay.
Um, I mean, I don't think you have to like ascribe to like one philosopher and be like, yes, this guy, I will copy him. I think you can take a little bit of Aristotle, a little bit of Kant, a little bit of et cetera, and then like sort of synthesize it and make that your worldview, you know? Obviously, the problem with this is that it might be incoherent because if you're adopting like what's his name, Hobbes, and also Karl Marx, like there's a lot of contradictions there. Those guys fucking hated each other. But just do your best.
Yeah. If you're willing to do that, all I'd say is, if you want to be authentic, I'm not saying that you aren't, but for me, an authentic person who would want to formulate their worldview with a consideration of the best worldviews that have been presented, it could be intellectually honest of you to check out what the classics had to say or the medievals did as well.
Yeah, I actually have on my reading backlog the Confessions by St. Augustine. I don't know if that's like enough of what you want me to read because there's like a lot of philosophy out there. Like there's a lot. And I'm a busy guy, so I try to like do audiobooks and stuff. Um
Confessions is more of a spiritual book. If you're having spiritual issues that you feel like you have questions on, then yeah, you might want to read that. If not, write this down. And if you want to read St. Augustine, read De Trinitate on the
can you just
Trinity.
like link it in the side chat and then I will bookmark it?
I linked you a good verse for that actually.
Yeah, because you just like spoke some Latin at me and I know I don't know how to spell that right. Is it St. Augustine or St. Augustine? I don't care.
Augustine.
Augustine, thank you.
Yeah, I used to say Augustine, and then I noticed other people would say Augustine.
I know, right? Because it ends in an E, so you think, oh, it's teen, but it's like, no, it's tin, as in Tim.
That's
All
the
right,
that's the PDF.
all right. The PDF of On the Trinity. Oh, I thought okay. I
This
thought the
one's
name
gonna
was
be
like,
like pretty dense, but then you wanna here, let me post you another
yeah.
I'll post you one other thing that it's going to be a good counterpoint for Islam because that question is naturally going to come up because you're going to be like, is it monotheistic or is it? And then you go to what the Muslims are saying. And then from St. Thomas for you, I would say you want to read this one. Okay, it's all free. This is the De Rationibus Fide. So
Is
these
it?
are part of his objections against Islam.
No.
Yeah, but what does he know
The
about
import
Islam?
the important chapter is chapter 10.
Chapter
Okay.
10. All right, let's see here. Let's see here. Do. The divine predestination does not impose necessity on human acts. This is relatively short. I could knock this out in like a half hour. I'm a slow reader, so it should be like 5 minutes, but I'm a slow reader.
Here's the key distinctions. In classical theism, there's a distinction between knowledge claims and truth claims.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I mean, when people ask me what I am, I just say agnostic atheist, and then if I'm in like the Darth Dawkins room, they'll be like, "What does that mean?" It's like, well, one's a knowledge claim, one's a belief claim, like obviously, right? And to them, that's just like that
It's
makes no
not.
sense. I don't get it. All right, I'm gonna check this stuff out. Thank you for your time. It was a pleasure talking to you. Okay,
Okay.
can we kiss now or
No.
fuck? All right, well, have a nice one.
Later.